We are covering two intertwined and heavily tested topics for the California real estate exam: the Transfer Disclosure Statement, or TDS, and the agent's duty to conduct a visual inspection. The exam will expect you to know that the TDS is the seller's duty, while the visual inspection is a separate and distinct duty of the licensee. The TDS is required for the sale of residential properties with 1 to 4 units. The seller must complete this form to disclose all known material facts that could affect the property's value or desirability. This isn't about what the seller should have known. It's about what they actually know. For example, if the seller knows a faucet drips only when the temperature drops below freezing, they must disclose it, even if it seems minor. The exam loves to test this distinction. A common trap question might describe a seller who is exempt from providing a TDS, such as in a foreclosure or probate sale, and then ask if the agent is also exempt from their duties. The answer is a firm no. Even if the seller is exempt from providing a TDS, the agent representing that seller is never exempt from conducting a reasonably competent and diligent visual inspection and disclosing what they find. This is a critical point to remember. Now, let's focus on the agent's duty. California Civil Code Section 2079 requires a licensee to conduct a reasonably competent and diligent visual inspection of the property and disclose to a prospective buyer all material facts that the inspection would reveal. This duty applies to all accessible areas of the property. An agent isn't required to climb on the roof, move furniture, or inspect areas that are not normally accessible. However, they are responsible for recognizing red flags. For instance, imagine an agent walks into a bedroom and notices a fresh patch of paint on the ceiling and a faint, musty odor. While the seller didn't disclose any leaks, these observations are red flags. The agent has a duty to note these observations as potential signs of a water leak. They don't have to diagnose the problem, but they must disclose what they observed. The exam will test your understanding of this standard of care. It's the degree of care a reasonably prudent real estate licensee would exercise. You aren't a home inspector, but you are a professional expected to see and disclose things that could materially affect the property's value. Here's a classic exam-style scenario. A seller discloses no known plumbing issues on the TDS. The listing agent, during their visual inspection, opens the cabinet under the kitchen sink and sees a small discolored area on the wood and a slight warping. They don't mention it, assuming it's an old resolved issue. The buyer later discovers a slow leak that has caused significant mold damage. In this case, both the listing agent and their broker would likely be held liable for failing to disclose a red flag discovered during their visual inspection. The key takeaway is the separation of duties. The seller discloses what they know. The agent discloses what they know and what they should know based on a diligent visual inspection. To keep these duties straight, use this mnemonic. The seller's TDS is their to-disclose sheet of known facts, but the agent's AVID, the agent visual inspection disclosure, is about what's apparent, visible, and demands disclosure. This highlights that the seller's duty is based on memory and knowledge, while the agent's duty is based on active observation. The exam wants to ensure you can protect the public by understanding that an agent's eyes are a critical part of the disclosure process, independent of what the seller says or knows. For free practice questions, AI-powered explanations, and more exam prep tools, visit openexamprep.com. That's openexamprep, all one word, .com.